alarming and disturbing new details coming to light surrounding the brutal killing of a Vermont Border Patrol agent just last month. Investigators now believe that deadly shooting could be the latest in a spree of other killings around the country linked to a radical death cult known as the Zizians. In addition to that Border Patrol agent, authorities believe the radical group is linked to at least 5 other deaths across the country dating back to 2022, including a California landlord who was just weeks away from testifying against the so-called death cult, and he was killed just 3 days before the Vermont agent. NewsNation Law and Justice correspondent Jesse Weber joining me now. Jesse, there's a lot to wrap your head around here. When I was researching this story, I had never heard of the Zizians. Is this somebody, that was on your radar and I'm just living under a rock, or what more do you know?
No, I don't think you've been reading up on this offshoot of a rational-based thinking cult.
I've been busy, Jesse.
Yeah, I got to tell you, this is one of the most bizarre stories I have heard. And when you're trying to make the connections between essentially 3 different crime scenes, one in California, one in Pennsylvania, one in Vermont, trying to find that through line is very interesting. So the Zizians, which, by the way, little side note, may be allegedly headed up by a guy who possibly faked his death. There's been reports that they thought he was dead, then shows up again and is later arrested. Put that to the side. So the Zizians, like I said, are an offshoot of a rational-based movement. And that is these are people who really focus on decision-making on scientific reason. They're mostly focused on animal rights. How do you incorporate AI into human decision-making? And again, how does that connect to the killing of a Border Patrol agent, a man who was stabbed and was about to testify in a case where he had been stabbed 2 years prior, and then the killings of 2 other people out in Pennsylvania. And it's just really, really interesting to see those connections. And what I think investigators are doing right now is taking the evidence that they have, taking the people they have in custody, and trying to understand who communicated what to whom. Did anyone purchase weapons for anybody else? And trying to make a connection, because it is absolutely bizarre at this point.
Yeah, those with knowledge of this group say that their targets are petty authority. What exactly does that mean? And should law enforcement be currently worried about other copycat crimes like this, like with this Border Patrol agent?
So look, the Border Patrol agent, based on the reporting, it doesn't appear that this was targeted, that they were really going after this agent. It appears that they were stopped. And when I say stopped, I mean 1 suspect's in custody, 1 suspect was killed. When they looked at the car and they found out what was inside, it was not only electronic evidence, which I'm sure they're scouring through, like laptops and cell phones, but tactical gear, night vision goggles, magazines, 2-way radios. It doesn't appear that that is what their main goal was or their main destination. Where were they going? And when you see these fringe groups, you have several people who are in custody right now. You're trying to develop the connections. How far past that does that go? If you're having people from different parts of the country who might have been communicating, were they the only ones? That's the concern I think that law enforcement has right now. And I think that's the concern why they haven't revealed a lot of information about who these different people are and who might have had a connection to one of the other crime scenes. I think there's still investigating if there anybody else who might be involved or allegedly involved.
Yeah, and one of the pieces of this puzzle is that it does seem like this group, the members of it, are connected through social media, and the leader of this group, Ziz, had a blog or a website of sorts where he or she posted his beliefs. Does this pose a bigger challenge for investigators, the social media part of it, or does that make it easier that all of their messages are out there to kind of link and find?
It's a 2-way sword in any criminal case, right? On one hand, how you can disseminate information and make these connections is a problem that investigators have to work for. On the other hand, you leave a digital footprint that is almost impossible to erase. And I know that they're looking into right now whether 2 of the suspects in 2 different crime scenes might have had a marriage license. They're also investigating whether the purchase of a weapon that was used in the killing of the Border Patrol agent was actually purchased by somebody, a person of interest, in a double homicide. So that digital footprint is very hard to escape, and I think it's the first thing that investigators look at, which is why, again, going to the car that was ultimately obtained during the course of that the killing of the Border Patrol agent, they found laptops, they found cell phones. I think that is what they're looking at more than anything.
Yeah, well, this is just kind of the story and group that keeps growing new legs as of this week, and it's bizarre every angle you look at it. Jesse Weber, thank you for being here, and we'll keep everybody posted as we learn more. Appreciate it.
You got it. Of course.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.